Are you ready to unleash your full potential and become unstoppable in your success and leadership?
Welcome to the Unleashed and Unstoppable podcast, where we provide powerful insights and strategies for coaches, corporate leaders, and entrepreneurs. I'm Alexanne Carter.
And I'm Carol Register, and we're certified master neurocoaches who are passionate about helping you overcome your limiting beliefs and optimize your performance.
Each week, we'll be sharing actionable tips and strategies using neuroscience, from interviews with industry experts to solo episodes, to help you lead a life of power, purpose, and possibility on your own terms.
Join our community of like-minded individuals. Hit subscribe now, and let's be unleashed and unstoppable together. Hello, hello. I am so glad that we are here today on a Monday. This is a special bonus episode, part 2 of my conversation with Lila Veronica surrounding how dynamic movement can help you to become unleashed and unstoppable. I really love Lila's out-of-the-box thinking, a new way of doing things, and movement that is so important. Our subconscious is in part housed in our body. So I want you to enjoy this beautiful Monday bonus episode of part 2 with Lila Veronica. So static versus dynamic is so interesting, right? And the straight line versus the curvy, which is more aligned with our nature. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, absolutely. So a straight line spine is where the bottom is tucked under, the pelvic floor is tight, the tailbone's down, and the belly's tight, suck in flat abs, and the shoulders are down, and the chin is tucked. So dynamic is in movement. So you can actually take a dynamic shape even when you're in stillness. I like to say the dynamic posture actually gets you one step closer to where you want to go at all times. So for example, it's a curved shape. Even when you're standing in line at the grocery store, for example, you can have a static shape tucked, or you can have a dynamic shape, more curvy and open. And so your tailbone's back, your knees are a little bent, your belly is more rounded. Your belly's soft and open and long, instead of not like hanging out, but like lengthening instead of shortening. Most people are trying to get like flat abs are getting they don't have a waist anymore. It's not that many people can get like 6-pack abs. Let's just be honest. It's not really natural.
Yeah. Well, I remember seeing you on another speaking event we were both on, and you have a gorgeous figure. And I would think of you as having a flat belly. In my mind, that's what comes up. So it's super interesting.
Well, I do like my partner, he likes to say, he's like, he'll be like, oh, 6-pack abs, like for me. But the thing is, I didn't get the that abs. I used to hate my belly for like 35 years. I actually did a post about it a couple of years ago and got a lot of response on social media. But I used to hate my belly. Now I like love my belly, but I had to let my belly go. Let it go. It took me about 6 months actually of practice to let the belly go, especially the low belly from the belly button down to the pubic bone. The low belly area, especially, I was always trying to tuck it in, it never really worked. And, trying to do abs and sit-ups and crunches and Pilates and all that. And what we're doing is we're like crunch, crunch, crunch. If it makes sense if you think about it. Animals have long bellies. Yeah. Right? Not short, flat bellies. So that's actually also harmful to the back. It creates less space in the body. We need more space inside body. It crunches our organs, our digestive system. So if you have digestive issues, please stop doing abs. Please stop doing crunches. Please stop doing Pilates and tight. Kegels, also like, the pelvic floor, tight. That whole idea. I'm not into it. It's actually, we need to open more. We need to be more soft and fluid in our body. And if you think about the shape of when you were to jump forward, leap forward, that is the dynamic posture shape. If you look at a dog, a cheetah, a gorilla, a cat, anything, even a bird, all of them have a snake. all of them have more of a curvy shape. It's just the human mind that takes us into this like straight line linear shape. And we've been told that that was like healthy, that that was like fit. But if that was the case, more people would feel good in their bodies. But we know that those people have pain, tension, tightness, you know, and they're not, you know, fluid.
Right.
And so this whole modality, the system that I'm talking about, dynamic posture and dynamic movement, it blew my mind. It was like, oh, this just makes sense. I remember learning this, and I remember thinking that over and over and over, this just makes sense. Look at nature. Look at a tree. It's like rooted down to the earth, and the branches are fluid and they're floaty, and the tree doesn't grow straight up. It grows spirals and curvy, right?
You're
so
right.
We're really not any different. It's just we're just conscious beings that can reshape our body however we want. So I work with the body's fascia, the connective tissue. The body's, you get a new shape through changing not your muscles, but actually what surrounds the muscles. So the connective tissue, the fascia, it's like a sweater. I always think of like a sweater where you like pull one end.
Yeah.
You know, you pull a string on the sweater and the other end changes, you know, the other sleeve changes. You pull one sleeve and the other sleeve changes like the strings. You change one part of the body and the rest of the body will change. It's a network of connective tissue that the nervous system actually runs through. And so why is this important for being unleashed and unstoppable? Well, we need the energy, we need the mind to be unleashed in our full essence and to be unstoppable. And we can do it through changing the physical shape. Even if your mind is telling you, you suck, you're no good, you're a loser, you're fat, you're ugly, you're poor, whatever your mind is trying to tell you, you're stupid.
Yeah.
All of the things that will bring us down. We all have something at some point in our lives where our mind told us incorrect thoughts.
Right.
But it happens, and you can try to fix the mind from the mind, or you can fix the mind into correct thinking through the body. And a lot of people have an easier time taking the shape. You cannot think you're poor, stupid, you know, sucky, whatever. If you're opening your body, smiling big, soft belly, booty back, wagging your tail. Right?
It's so interesting. It's so powerful. And, you know, just looking at with that neuroscience work, it's literally that we are creating our thoughts through, we are creating our reality through the thoughts. But again, going back to the fact that we're integrated beings, what you're leaning into here, and going back to something that's flowy and moving, and those 3 H's, the heart, the hips, and the head, is super, super interesting and powerful. Tie this in to how you speak about wealth, because that is very much something that I speak about with our audience. And I'd love to hear, how does this make us more wealthy? And actually, I just want to say, one of the things that I catch myself doing, especially from, you know, being in the gymnastics arena, is clenching. I clench my body, and particularly my butt. and so that's not very flowy or curvy at all, or dynamic, according to what you're saying. So I would love to hear you address the wealth and anything that any of you are doing, like I am, that may be impacting that.
That's great. I love this question, because a lot of the work that I do is around shifting the body, embodying wealth, shifting the body into a state of energy to receive wealth. But it's not really just receiving wealth. It's receiving wealth and keeping wealth and growing wealth.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of people who might have money, but still feel tight and kind of like fearful that they might lose it all.
Right.
Right. That's a big thing. I'll speak to the bottom, for example. So the tight bottom might be somebody who's like wealthy, but scared to let go of it. The bottom being tight is actually, a lot of people have a tight jaw. So if your jaw's tight, your mouth is tight,
Yeah.
your lips are tight, you'll actually have a tight bottom. A lot of women actually that I witness, as they age, they'll get these little lines around the lips.
Yes.
Holding on to the lips tight. And I know that the lips are connected to the bottom. It's what goes in must come out. It's all connected. We're one thing. So I can see what's going on in the face or the body or something. And I know what's going on. So if you have a tight jaw, which almost everybody does, almost everybody has a tight jaw that I come across. All my clients have a tight jaw in the beginning. Yeah. It's a control thing, like wanting to hold on. So it's not just about creating wealth, receiving wealth. It's like being in the flow of wealth, knowing that, yes, you can create. Even if you lose everything, you can create again. Staying in the flow, being able to receive and spend with ease and invest for the long term and trusting the process of life. So it takes a big, deep trust to say, okay, I'm going to let go. I'm going to let my bottom, my anus, my genitals, whatever if you're a man or a woman, I'm going to let it relax. I'm going to let the low belly relax. It's a very sacred, secret, sensitive part of ourselves. So it's not, it's special but to really tell yourself to relax all of that, open that up. Let your mouth relax. Let your jaw relax. When you take your eyes out on the horizon, your jaw will naturally start to soften. Let your back teeth relax. Let your lips open. Like I have a lot of my clients do this thing where I'm like, right. In the beginning, it's kind of difficult for some, but then they get used to it. If you can't do that, like kind of thing with your lips, if you're listening only, like where you move your lips, if you can't do that at first, like keep practicing. It'll soften the bottom.
So you're pursing your lips for our listeners.
I'm like, I'm moving them like a little, like a motorboat kind of like pursing is kind of tight. And instead of tightening, pursing, you're actually going to let them go and move them. So
got it.
Flibber flabbering. I don't
like
know what
you used to
it.
blow bubbles in the swimming pool or bathtub when you were a kid.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of hard to maybe unless you can see. So that's a way to let the bottom start to let go, let the belly let go. There's a couple things with that. It's really, like I said, it's more about getting into the flow of wealth, not about just getting wealth, receiving wealth, holding on to wealth, but being in the flow. And the more you're in the flow, the more easeful it is to not only receive wealth, but spend your money with ease, with joy, right? We want to spark joy when we buy things. And then also to be able to accumulate and save and invest and all that kind of stuff over time. So the body, how we move through life is how life moves through us. So if we're more fluid and open and all of that in our physical form, the physicality, wealth is a physical 3D thing. We get it through a feeling state, but it's on earth. It's not ethereal. It's not consciousness. It's not an energy. It's not something, an idea. It's literal 3D, atomic matter stuff. And so it's when we shift our 3D atomic matter self, then we shift the 3D atomic matter stuff outside of us, inspiration, motivation, and then receiving, creating, and accumulating, being in that flow state. So I'll give you an example. It's really interesting. Like if you think about the body of wealthy people, there's all sorts of different kinds of wealthy people. Like which wealthy person's body would you want more? I would say I recently learned that Elon Musk has back pain, low back pain. And he's a very rich man from a wealth standpoint. Yeah. But what his body is saying that there's fear. The body reflects the mind. The thought pattern. So the low back reflects fear around money, safety, security. So even though he has all this money, his body is showing that there's some fear of losing it all or something falling apart.
Yes. Well,
right?
I very much experienced this, being wealthy and yet living in a scarcity state, living in a lack state, living with a fear of losing it, living with making poverty decisions at times, often. And, it's super interesting that my body reflected that. And to some degree, with the work that I'm still always using the tools that I teach, am still continuing to progress in having that complete package of happiness, because a lot of the clients that I work with are wealthy, as you know, if you're listening and you're one of my clients, and yet, we're not living wealthy with the happy relationships, with the health, we're sacrificing somewhere along the way. And what you're talking about with the wealth, to me, directly ties into being a business owner, running multiple businesses, in fact, is that I'm always driving decisions to a point. I'm always making decisions and starting to look at leadership from the aspect of letting go of control, letting it be connection. Connection is currency, relationship. This is all tying into that. And we could even say masculine energy versus feminine energy, that we embody both, and that it can be a tendency to be making decisions and driving to the point all the time, to where we're always in a state of masculine energy. Would you speak to that?
Yeah. Yeah, it's beautiful. The body, we'll go to the body because that's what we're talking about today. The body is, if you're experiencing challenges on the right side of your body or the back of your body, for example, usually that's the masculine energy in the body. And then the left side of the body and the front of the body is the feminine. And a lot of this roots back to our mommy and our daddy. It just is what it is.
Yeah.
And also, societal experiences, what society says. We have been raised in a society of the more you achieve, the more love you receive.
Yes.
Right? Back to what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
And so if your body's experiencing challenges on the right side, it's a masculine issue, left side, a feminine issue. Basically what that means is you're probably overdoing it. Like, I'll give you an example. If you just stand up, look down at your feet, which foot is in front of the other? Most people, even if it's subtle, like a, centimeter, the right foot tends to be a little bit forward in front of the left foot. Now that can cause physical challenges, for example, the hips being twisted, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But what it's also saying is that you're doing more than you're receiving. So there has to be a balance in nature. What goes in must come out. Yes. And so if you're working and not getting in return what you feel like you deserve, it's because you're overdoing it, and there's something blocking you from actually either doing less or receiving more. And that's what I love about Carol's work, is that you can, you really dive in and help people find those beliefs and those thought patterns and those ways of operating that can help people balance the left and right. Same thing if the front and back, like if the back is not as strong and the front is more tight, then the back is overdoing and the front is not receiving. I'll give you an example of my own body. I can look back even like in high school of photos of me where my shoulders have a tendency to like be tight and lifted up, like not even my shoulders, like the shoulders up, but then like the traps, the neck like, to the shoulders area. What this was I grew up in a home where I was more mothering my mother than her mothering me. I also had a tendency to want to save the world. I'm a recovering Save the World addict. I used to do environmental work. So I was trying to save the world, trying to always on a mission to try to figure out how to help the world become a better place. And then at some point, I had to recognize that's actually ego. It's not my job
Wow.
to save the world.
Yeah.
That's actually harming me. So my shoulders would be up. I would have the weight of the world on my shoulders. So you might feel that in your family. You might feel that in your work. You might feel that, in your neighborhood, all these like conversations right now in the world about what's going on elsewhere, except your home, your physical form. Your home is actually your body.
Yeah.
So I'm still on a journey. Like you were saying, Carol, you're still on a journey. I'm still on a journey of recognizing every day that it is not my job to save the world. It is my job to be the best version of myself, which means be of service to the world.
Yeah.
And nourish myself.
Yeah.
Be willing to receive. And so I'll give you one tip on this is that if you feel like you're in your masculine doing state more often and not in the receiving feminine state.
Yeah.
The thing you can do in the physical form is you can start moving from the left side more. So grab your cup of coffee, drink your, water, use your fork from the left side. If you're, right dominant, especially, take your first step out of your chair, out of, up the stairs, when you get up, start walking left first. Cause I guarantee you, if you're more on the masculine side, you're probably stepping with your right foot first all the time. Left. And then the other piece to really, and this is huge, friends, like this is huge. Look at your time. How many hours per day are you in service to others? And how many hours per day are you in service to yourself? How you value yourself is how others value you. If you spend time with yourself, time and values are directly related. Time with you. So you could just literally do this posture work. Oh, I'm going to walk around for another extra 10 minutes today to add a few more minutes. Yeah. Left foot first. How are you nourishing yourself? Are you taking in food quickly? Or are you spending time, with your food? What are you doing for yourself? And if you're not doing more for you, then time-wise, then you might be imbalanced. That's part of it. So time and this masculine, feminine energy stuff are directly related. I know for high performance, it's hard. High performance leaders, it's can be tense. That's a thought pattern we can change, right?
Right.
For sure. But I just want to honor you to say, oh, I don't have time to do stuff for myself. Right. Well, if you want to balance yourself, if you want to receive more wealth, you have to spend more time with yourself. If you want other people to value you more, you got to value yourself, which means time.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's what you're saying, what I'm hearing is one of the things that I'm really starting to speak into more, recognize is so many of the things that really bring us the life that we desire, that we truly want to live, the happiness, the freedom, the joy, are counterintuitive to what we've been taught. And it's counterintuitive to pour into ourselves and do these things. It's counterintuitive to recognize that it's less, doing less, saying no, that will create more. And I speak about this through the Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule, as you know. Let 20% or less of your activities produce 80% or more of your results. So I love what you're speaking to us here, because it really, again, I just want to go back to the alignment piece. These principles, these success clues are universal across the board. And looking at how we can use our bodies in these very specific ways to invite that alignment, to bring the feeling piece, as you mentioned, and bring it all together where we start to experience what we want, even though it's counterintuitive, right?
Yes, I love that. That Pareto principle applies all over, and the body, same thing, shows whether you're, doing the 20% or you're doing the 80%. If you have tension, pain, imbalances, any of that kind of stuff, any sort of body problem that you got going on,
Yeah.
almost everything. There's a few genetic situations, but almost everything is just from thought patterning. Even genetics, we've been learning through epigenetics. The genes can be turned off and turned on. And so even genetic issues can be often shifted in people. And so, I love the work you're doing, Carol, because I believe that every human deserves to receive at the greatest level for their creative expression in life. And I know that a lot of people are struggling with that.
Yeah.
And what the work you're doing, the body work I'm talking about, right? Any other, leaders out there helping people with this piece of wealth, I really honor, because I know, I don't believe, I should say, I know everybody deserves to receive. And I really appreciate the work you're doing here.
Thank you. And that to I know we're wrapping up here. It's really beautiful too, because letting go of having to take the responsibility on to save the world, that was the counterintuitive piece that I really wanted to highlight here, is that when you take care of you, as you were saying, that actually does impact the world. That brings the transformation. And you mentioned epigenetics. There's DNA research that we can see where we're all connected. There's the quantum physics, the quantum mechanics piece, where all realities exist in this present moment. So what we are truly desiring is possible through filling our own cups up and doing this work and, letting go of the responsibility of the world. It's going to happen. It's just the way the universe works. And so I am so glad you are here. Any last words that you want to leave us with, and how can we get in touch with you?
Yeah. I would say the last words to leave you with is that believe that you deserve to receive. Believe that you deserve to feel good. Believe that you are deserving.
I love
it's
it.
Huge. Yeah, it's huge that you deserve it. Yeah, you deserve this, friends. You really do. So what I offer is, I'd love to offer your community today is I love these really special, I do a complimentary posture assessment. So if you're interested in, say, hey, Lila, I'd love for you to see my posture, tell me what's going on, and then tell me how to shift so that I can actually get into a state of dynamic posture and this shape of receiving. You can go to speakwithlila.com, speak with Lila, Lila.com, speak with Lila. And then you can schedule a time and we'll do a complimentary body assessment, posture assessment, really. I'll show you some things going on in your body, your hands, your feet, all your whole thing, your whole body. And I'll show you what you're doing actually that blocks receiving. And then if you want to check out, if you're like, what is this Lila all about? You can go to my movement school, Riverstone movement.com, riverstonemovement.com. The idea behind Riverstone is you flow like the river over the smooth stones in the river, not the crazy sharp ones, but riverstonemovement.com. And then also I love new social media, friends. So I'm on Facebook, and you can find me there at Lila Veronica.
Oh, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for sharing this fabulous information with us. I'm thinking differently, aren't you, high achievers? I am really looking at things through a different lens, and that openness and possibility and flexibility, new opportunities start to flow in that have been hidden in plain sight when we keep ourselves open and learning and growing. So this has been super special. And we will have all of that information that Lila just gave to you so that you can have your posture assessed with her and you can get in touch with her in the show notes. And I can't wait to be with you next week. So ciao for now. Have a great week and send in all my love.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Unleashed Unstoppable podcast with your hosts, Alexandra Carter and Carol Register.
If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or leave a rating and review and subscribe.
That's all for this episode, Wildly Ambitious Leaders. See you next week.